You're listening to the views expressed right here on the Free America Radio Network. Hey folks, this is the Free America Radio Network. How are you today on this? What is this? It's Thursday, the 12th of June, 2014. How you doing? Lots of things going on, lots of things that to discuss. I think President Obama just betrayed Israel. How do you like them apples? The Obama administration is funding and reportedly secretly negotiating with Hamas, a terrorist organization that openly calls for the destruction of Israel, our greatest ally in the Middle East. You can read more of that on Free America Radio on Facebook. Also, from Wake Up News, naturalnews.com as well, Iraq falls to Islamic militants. Here's what the media isn't telling you about why it's happening. Seattle imposes, this is from riderrants.blogspot.com. Seattle imposes $15 minimum wage. Meet the robot replacement that will be hired. Also, Comcast converting 50,000 Houston home routers into public Wi-Fi hotspots without prior consent. No Army Can Stop an Idea.com. That's Angel Clark's site. Also, from thedailysheeple.com. Find the FEMA camp nearest you, because that's where you're headed, folks. Hey, I got something for you locals here. And I'll talk about that in just a minute after the break. But I want to give a shout out to the one and only Mr. Brian Lang over at LiveTruthRadio.com, who has a show on WakingUpTheMasses.com. And of course, we have to thank the head guru over at Waking Up the Masses Radio Network, Mr. Bob Brutus, as well, because he's broadcasting this show, The Views Expressed Live, over there. Also on 1610 AM in the Chickamauga, Georgia area. Want to give another shout out to just a bunch of people. They know who they are. They listen to the show. And I want to just take the next minute or so and just tell you that, have you ever, I'm going to ask you a question, and maybe you can answer this in the Spreaker chat. Have you ever been watching something, or you wake up in the morning and you're doing something, and then all of a sudden, just boom, out of nowhere, you have an epiphany? You know what an epiphany is? Well, I'll break that down for you in layman's terms. Aha moment. Have you ever had something that just gave you chills and just like, you're like, oh my God, I got it. Have you ever had one of those moments? I have. And one right after the other. And so I can tell you this much. Things are rapidly changing. And it doesn't take a freaking rocket scientist to figure it out. And you people out there that are saying, oh, everything's going to be fine and it's going to work out and all. Not without you getting up off of your butts and defending yourself, it won't. But anyway, more about that later, probably by the end of the show. Email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. You can go to the website, freeamericaradio.us. You can sponsor the show, too, if you like, or donate. I shall return right after this. Mainstream science argues that if something can't be touched, measured, quantified, and duplicated in a laboratory, then it doesn't exist. According to this worldview, reality is an unconscious, non-personal mass of matter, which leaves no room for the existence of spiritual or unexplained phenomena. But is that all there really is to reality? Marie D. Jones and Larry Flaxman don't think so, and after reading this book, neither will you. In The Grid, paranormal investigators and best-selling authors Jones and Flaxman present their theory of the grid, a divine superstructure that includes multiple levels of existence, the entirety of which makes up our reality. Jones and Flaxman will show you how to release the limiting belief that this is all there is once and for all by exploring the grid, expanding your awareness, and empowering your life in the process. Reality, dear friend, will never be the same again. The Grid, Exploring the Hidden Infrastructure of Reality by Marie D. Jones and Larry Flaxman. Available at Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com. Listen to Kicking the Capstone with Bob Brutus immediately following the views expressed live.
Putting the local back into radio.
Sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
This is the Free America Radio Network. You are listening to the views expressed, broadcasting live from behind enemy lines in FEMA Region 9, from the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada. Also broadcasting on freeamericaradio.us and wakingupthemasses.com, and on 1610 AM in Chickamauga, Georgia. So how are ya? I am your wonderful host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. Yes, I'm a reverend, full-blown, yes, I marry, bury, and baptize people. Hopefully in not that order, I'm just saying. But all above board. Yes, I don't always use that title, but I figure, well, you know, what's it going to hurt? You know what I mean? Like I was saying in the first, before the break, and welcome to Free America Radio Network. I appreciate your support. Please go to freeamericaradio.us. Check it out. Have you ever had... You've been working and doing something, and you're just there, and then all of a sudden you have this aha moment. And it's called an epiphany, but have you ever had that aha moment where it chills all over your body, and then all of a sudden you're like clear-minded, you're going, I get it now. You know? And I've had several of those in the last several days, and it has come to my attention. It has come to my attention that several, and I will say several, university studies have pointed out something, at least given it a name of something that I've known for many years, but several universities, I'm talking Yale and Columbia and University of California, San Diego, and all these big universities, have come to the conclusion or have researched a lot of what is going on, and I can sum it up by saying this. Go to your favorite search engine and search out Operation Paperclip. You'll find a website. Check that one out. But here's another one. Minerva. Remember that. Go check that out. Talk about your behavioral science. These universities are checking out why people are reacting the way they are. And they're also telling the government, oh, they're reacting this way, so you'll have to change your approach to this in this fashion. In other words, they're controlling, they're teaching, they're showing the government, military-industrial complex, all those, alphabet soups of departments in Washington, D.C., how to control the human beings they are leading. I've known this for years. I've known that there was, ways that they do this. You can look under targeted individuals. You can look under mind control. You can look under nanotechnology. You can look under everything that you can think of. And when I heard several things in the last several days, it just became clear. Even though I've known it, even though I've heard, a lot of stuff over the years, identifying this, identifying that group, identifying this, all of that, you get to that point where you may hear 100 things, but it's that 101st thing that you hear that you're going, aha! Okay? I've had those moments in the last several days. I've had several of those. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There is no parties in the United States, so don't even worry about voting for whoever party that you think is, going to do, justice. They're not. There's no parties. It's all false. It's all a false. It's all false. It's all fake. It's all a charade. It's all a facade. That's all it is. It's a massive geopolitical chess game where the pawns are going to get wiped out and they're going to go after the big person or people and knock them out. And it's already starting, because how I arrived at these epiphanies, at these aha moments, was just adding 1 + 1 is 2 and watching what was happening around the world, and realized I was right. And so are everybody. Everybody in the independent media, alternative media is correct. Absolutely 100% correct. They may have a different approach. They may have a different view that you may not agree with, but for the majority of the time, they are correct. And when you look at these things, and we look at the trends, and you look at everything that's happening, when you examine everything and begin to put 1 + 1 together, and you put the puzzle pieces together of what's going on, well, I got more to say about that, and I'll show you. But right now, I want to... before I lose my train of thought, I will do this. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook, and you'll see, the show there embedded on the Facebook page, but you'll see a picture. The Obama administration has decided to fund the Hamas-led Palestinian Authority. This betrays Israel, strengthens terrorists, and violates U.S. law. Shall we go there and take a look at it? I want you all to know that I'm not against any individual of a different color, different, not just, they're all human beings, folks. But logically, we cannot have this happen. Logically, we cannot have this happen to other human beings. So let me read this from the ACLJ. Actually, I cannot, let me go back to the article. Whoops. Using my mouse, but it takes you, that link that is on there, it says sign and share our petition to say no deals with terrorists. That takes you to the ACLJ, which is the American Center for Law and Justice. Jay Sekulow is the senior counsel on that one. And they have fought and are still fighting, the unconstitutional laws. They're behind the scenes fighting for us. So give them a shout. But the next one that you see down there, there's a video there. It's kind of interesting. We are from the future. You might want to watch that. But remember the 2045 initiative. Just remember that. This is a cool video, and it's just it's interesting. But I just wanted to throw that up there to something else for you to think about. Okay. The next picture is naturalnews.com. Iraq falls to Islamic militants. Here's what the media isn't telling you about why it's happening. Now, like I said, I'm not against anybody. They're human beings, but until, I'm cool with them until they think that their religion, their faith, their position in life, whatever, is better than mine, and they start slamming me for whatever reason or try to threaten my life, then, let's just say they're not going to have a happy day after that, okay? Naturalnews.com. The puppet Iraqi government installed at gunpoint by Western imperialist nations is collapsing. Iraq is now being overrun by Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, or ISIS. The oil-rich city of Tikrit has already been captured, and militants are headed for Baghdad, the capital city of Iraq. The military surge has sent shockwaves around the world, shining yet another spotlight on the disastrously failed foreign policies of the United States and the Obama administration. While the U.S. military occupation of Iraq began in 2003 under President Bush, Obama pulled most U.S. troops from the nation in 2011, leaving behind a puppet government installed at gunpoint by the USA. That government is now on the verge of total collapse as armed, impassioned Islamic militants are rapidly overrunning the country. U.S.-backed Iraqi soldiers have no heart in the fight, and they are abandoning military equipment as they retreat en masse from the Islamic militants. As the Daily Mail reported, 30,000 soldiers fled, leaving behind tanks and firearms as just 800 fighters approached. Less than 24 hours later, the oil-rich city of Tikrit was captured by the militants, who then turned their attentions to the capital as it pushes ahead with its aim to overthrow the Western-backed government as part of its goal to create an Islamic emirate spanning both sides of Iraq-Syria border. And there's a map there to take a look at that. Why does this matter to us? Why does this matter to you, as it says here? Why does all this matter to someone living in the USA? For starters, we are witnessing a wave of popular revolts across the planet. Egypt, Thailand, Iraq, etc. Tunisia, Greece, you can name them. They're all over the place. As more and more people become fed up with being controlled by corrupt criminal government regimes. And hey, in the USA, the people even voted corporate frontman Eric Cantor out of office this week. That happened yesterday. This is part of a global populist revolt that's only gaining steam. So we can all expect more outbreaks of such events around the world, but especially in areas steeped with cultural conflicts such as Iraq, Israel, Palestine, Pakistan, North Korea, even China. Secondly, Iraq controls 10% of the world's oil supply, so everything that happens in Iraq impacts us at the gas pumps. But it's not just our own gas prices that matter. It's also the fact that the higher fuel prices raise food costs at a time when food is already skyrocketing in cost across the world due to extreme weather events, droughts, floods, GMO crop failures, and so on. Peace and stability makes things more affordable and efficient, but war and strife leads to higher prices, higher risk, and greater economic burdens for everyone, not to mention the humanitarian costs of all the pain and suffering caused by war in the first place. So you can expect all of this to have a very costly economic ripple effect that will cost you more money everywhere you go. Get ready for the new fuel surcharges on the airline tickets too. See? Occupied nations usually don't like to remain occupied. The surge of Islamic militants is panicking Washington, of course. America is a country weary of war and tired of all of its deaths, injuries, and costs associated with war. Iraq has already been a worthwhile strategic target for imperialist occupation, of course, because of its oil reserves. It's all about the oil. Follow the money. Follow the money. But the one rule for imperialist occupation is that you need to continue to occupy the nation if you hope to control it. Sure, the U.S. occupation of Iraq got us all another decade of cheap gas, but at what price for the war? After spending billions of dollars achieving and occupying military presence in Iraq, the U.S. foolishly thought it could leave behind a puppet government guarded by a few thousand half-hearted trained government soldiers who largely just wanted a paycheck. Those government soldiers obviously have no will to fight for a paycheck, and they are rapidly fleeing their positions and effectively turning over military equipment to the ISIS, which is rapidly gaining strength and numbers. Remember, the USA invaded Iraq under a false humanitarian pretense, claiming it needed to free the Iraqi people. We were all ridiculously told the entire invasion had nothing to do with oil. But freedom for the Iraqi people really meant subservience to a Western occupying military, and that's something which can't be sustained long term because everybody across the world, no matter what countries they're from, resents occupying military forces in their own backyard. So, as the U.S. reduced its military presence and posture, it was only a matter of time before local militants found the courage to organize a resistance effort which they characterized as a freedom war against the occupying imperialist, even describing it by invoking historical parallels such as Gandhi fighting against British rule. In truth, military occupation of a foreign nation is never a sustainable strategy. Nobody likes to be occupied by an army of foreigners wielding guns, tanks, and attack helicopters. Mike Adams here says, I'm not saying Iraq wasn't involved in some heinous human rights abuse long before the Americans showed up, but I am questioning the wisdom of the USA trying to occupy and control foreign nations to begin with. After all, we spilled a lot of blood over there, and a lot of courageous Americans, men and women, gave their lives in that conflict. Now it all appears to be crumbling by the hour, with city after city falling to the ISIS and Baghdad close at hand. It brings up the big picture question. Wouldn't all this have been less expensive, less tragic, and less costly in human lives if we just focused on trading with foreign nations instead of invading them? Oh, I forgot. But then the weapons manufacturers wouldn't earn billions of dollars making new bombs, would they? Never forget that war is a for-profit business, and you can't profit from a war unless you start one first. I am weary of war like everyone else. I don't like war. I don't confront anyone. I try to find the most peaceful and logical solution to the problem. It's only when they step on my foot. It's only when they try to outshout me and tell me that their religion, their faith, their government is better than what I could even come up with, or that we, the people, could ever come up with. Well, it seemed to work for the United States for over 238 years. I think that's a pretty good track record, don't you? But when they start saying that America must die, that the Muslim Brotherhood and others want to invade America and take it down, that's when my hackles go up, folks. That's when it's time to lock and load. Yeah, I don't want war either. Yeah, when the bullets start flying, you get scared. I've talked to people who were in Vietnam. I've talked to people who were in the Gulf in 91. I've talked to people who came back here. I can, in this last, skirmish we've had over there, I can tell you this much. They said they had to shoot back or they would die. But they were scared as hell, but they refocused that energy into courage, and they got out of there. They stayed alive. But what goes through your mind when you hear a story like that? That story's up on Free America Radio on Facebook. What goes through your mind? Is it something that you can sit back and look at yourself in the mirror and know that you have a family, that in your heart you know that if somebody comes into your neighborhood trying to kill everybody in the neighborhood, you would stick up for them, or somebody tried to come into your house to attack you and your family, you would defend them? Look what happened. Did you hear that? Somebody, a 17-year-old girl went out to her car to get something out of it. Two guys in masks grabbed her, took her into her home, and guess what? Dad shot one of them. And Mom shot the other one and wounded him. Oh, yeah. That is the way it has to be. And if anybody wants to come and tackle America, anybody wants to step on the shores of America to try to bring it down, I could venture a guess and say that there's over 180 million people with various firearms that are going to stop you right where you stand. I don't care who it is. So we look at this whole geopolitical nightmare that's going on, and I have to ask, when you look in the mirror at night after you get home from work and just before you go to bed at night, when you look in the mirror, my question to you is, are you going to sleep well knowing what's going on just outside your door? Now, I'm not a fearmonger. I'm more of a realist than anything else, but you have to understand, and this leads me into the next story after the bottom of the hour break, but you have to understand that places like Kalispell, Montana, yeah, little town, Kalispell, Montana, little places like Story County with Virginia City in it, Virginia City, Nevada. Oh yeah, little places like that. They're all strung out all over the country. Little places, 1,500 people here, 4,000 here, whatever it may be, right? Getting military equipment from the government. Oh yeah, I got a story about that after the bottom of the hour break. Right here in my backyard in Story County. I'll tell you what. You got to get a gut check and a reality check and ask yourself, if somebody starts shooting, you going to shoot back? Are you going to put your life on the line for your family? Are you going to put your life on the line for your city, your county, your state? I sure as hell won't put it on the line for my government. Well, let me be specific. I won't put my life on the line for anybody in Washington, D.C., period. For you, most definitely. But for those jackasses in Washington, D.C., not on, no. Nope. Not at all. I don't know, folks. I mean, how can a person even sleep at night knowing what is going on? freeamericaradio@usa.com is the email address. freeamericaradio.us is the website. I shall return right after this. Want to know what's happening all around us? You do? Great! Come check out the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. Have a nice trip. See you next fall. Attending their daughter's wedding in South Africa promised to be a vacation of a lifetime. But first, they had to face the treacherous gauntlet known as modern-day travel. Waiting for them on the other side of the world are an honest-to-goodness safari with amorous lions and elephants with anger issues, a life-affirming visit to a South African school, and an anxious bride and groom standing patiently at the airport with a sign that reads, "What took you so long?" The answers lie within the pages of Please Hold Thumbs, a not-so-round trip to South Africa, a true tale of turbulence and triumph from travel mug Scott Cherney, author of Red Asphalt. Available at Amazon.com in paperback and on the Kindle.
This is Michael Vera with Late Night in the Midlands, and you're listening to the views expressed live with your host, Reverend Wayne Pierce, on the Free America Radio Network.
Sharing the truth one fact at a time. This is the Free America Radio Network.
From behind enemy lines in FEMA Region 9, in the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada, you're listening to The Views Expressed Live. Hey, all right, folks, how you doing? This is The Views Expressed Live right here on the Free America Radio Network. You can go to freeamericaradio.us for more information. I don't know, folks. Man. Mr. Nick Tucker from Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker is in the Spreaker chat. Hello. I want to make sure that you understand one very valuable piece of information. Whatever you hear on the state-run media on any number of your channels is a total and absolute lie. Okay? I don't give a crap what your excuse is or what your reasoning is to believe that they're not lying. They are lying. From the 2nd of April 2014, this is Ames Tribune. Okay? Ames Tribune. Sheriff's Office acquires mine-resistant vehicle. M. Erickson, if I can speak, wrote this. Visitors to the Story County Justice Center in Nevada may see an unusual vehicle parked outside the sheriff's office. The Story County Sheriff's Office now has a mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicle, or MRAP, which officials say can be used for protection and cover for officers in potentially dangerous situations. Story County Sheriff Paul Fitzgerald said the vehicle will be used only for preventative measures. Do you get the wordplay there, folks? Quote, if we're going to a situation that's an active search warrant or, get that, or if we're going to be doing recovery of something that's that there's a possibility of danger, exchange of weapon fire or anything, we would want that in there, unquote, Fitzgerald said. Quote, if nothing else, that would give us a shield and protection for the officers that are having to go in and do the job that needs to be done, unquote. Having an armored vehicle for the county was something Fitzgerald was interested in when he first became Story County Sheriff in the early 90s. But he said he stopped pursuing the idea when it received some negative public reaction. Today, though, Fitzgerald says he's seeing a different environment for law enforcement. Quote, 20 years ago, we didn't see the active shooters. We didn't see the shooters in the schools. We didn't see the shooters in the churches. We didn't see the shooters in the businesses that we have, unquote, he said. The sheriff's office requested an armored vehicle through a military surplus program in May of 2013. Support Services Commander Lieutenant Don Ellis said. Ellis said that they were notified in January that an MRAP previously used in Afghanistan was available, and it was delivered to the sheriff's office on March 25th. The only expense to the sheriff's office to acquire the $733,000 MRAP was $5,000 to transport the vehicle from Sealy, Texas to Nevada. Folks, I'm going to stop right there. You guys can read the rest of that. It's on Free America Radio on Facebook. I told you before, Nick Tucker's told you, various people in the independent media have told you. I know I've said this. The Pentagon told law enforcement several years ago, around, I remember, 2010, saying, hey, we got some military equipment for you. It's surplus military equipment. It just came back from Iraq. It just came back from Afghanistan. We got it, we got it out here. All you need to do is pay shipping and handling, and it's yours. $733,000 MRAP for $5,000 just to get it out there? Yeah, let's do that. My question is why does Story County need an MRAP? Well, you have the Virginia City Highlands, which is a housing development and housing area out there of multiple acres, and you have that out there. I used to live in Virginia City, Nevada, and I can tell you right now it's a historical landmark. The whole city is. And, Western themed and all that, gold mining and that kind of stuff. But on the outlying areas, yeah, pretty normal. There's been shootings up there, but hardly ever do you hear anything happening up there. So my question is, why do you need military vehicles? If you go to Google Earth and look up Virginia City, Nevada, and you see the terrain, that's perfect terrain for anybody to hide out in. That's perfect terrain for anybody to, well, let's just say, stay a while. Also, Dayton, you have Mark Twain, you have Carson City, you have a lot of areas around there, and it's very, very mountainous. Okay. You see where I'm headed with that? Folks, when the crap hits the fan, people are going to be running in all directions. I say that, but I also know people are going to dig their heels in and stay put. You're not a coward if you want to save your life by running, but you'll be pretty damn stupid to dig your heels in and fight against somebody that has a bigger club than you. Why does Story County need an MRAP? By the way, the Carson City Sheriff's Department, or the Sheriff's Department in Carson City, I believe has one. I know that Reno, Nevada here has one, or several. I know that out north here in Stead, the old Stead Air Base, by the way, is semi-active, just to let you know. They have, we've driven out there before, and I've seen fairly new equipment. Interesting. What am I saying? Well, it's perfectly simple to understand that, and pretty logical, really, that a police officer, a sheriff officer, wants to have protection. It's pretty logical. But then again, why have an MRAP? Why have military equipment? Why militarize the law enforcement? If you go to, just a little side note, if you want to know what goes on in your area, specifically here in Washoe County or in Clark County, or anywhere you can pick up scanner feeds, go to radioreference.com. I'm just saying. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook, if you would, please. Thank you very much. News.yahoo.com has a very interesting article. Oh, by the way, let me get to this one first, because I feel it's necessary, because I've told people this for many, many months. You raise the minimum wage, companies are going to be laying off. I've known it. That's just the way it is. Okay? Seattle, Washington. Richard Ryder rants at ryderrants.blogspot.com. That's Ryder, R-I-D-E-R, rants, R-A-N-T-S, ryderrants.blogspot.com. Seattle imposes $15 minimum wage. Meet the robot replacement that will be, quote-unquote, hired. Well, perhaps not this robot will be the new fast food worker. Perhaps the son of this robot. Research is picking up for such automated replacements for fast food employees, doubtless spurred on by the current massive proposed increases in the minimum wage and all the related costs tied to wage, Social Security, workman's comp, unemployment compensation, etc. No human hand touched this burger. There's a picture there. The San Francisco-based robotic company debuted its burger preparing machine last year. It can whip up hundreds of burgers an hour, take custom orders, and it uses top-shelf ingredients for its inputs. Now, Momentum is proposing a chain, Momentum is the company, proposing a chain of smart restaurants that eschew human cooks altogether. Food Beast points us to the Momentum's official release where the company blares, quote, "Fast food doesn't have to have a negative connotation anymore. With our technology, a restaurant can offer gourmet quality burgers at fast food prices. Our Alpha machine replaces all of the hamburger line cooks in a restaurant. It does everything employees can do, except better," unquote. And what might this robotic burger cook of the future do better than the slow, inefficient, wage-sucking line cooks of yore? One, it slices toppings like tomatoes and pickles only immediately before it places the slice onto your burger, giving you the freshest burger possible. Two, custom meat grinds for every single customer. Want a patty with 1/3 pork and 2/3 bison ground after you place your order? No problem. Number three, it's more consistent, more sanitary, and can produce 360 burgers an hour. Yeah. Furthermore, the quote, "labor savings allow a restaurant to spend approximately twice as much on high-quality ingredients, and the gourmet cooking techniques make the ingredients taste that much better," unquote. Hear that? Without all those cumbersome human workers, your burger will be twice as good for the same cost. It's a burger. The writer here says, I don't doubt this is where we're headed or heading. Robots are making inroads in manufacturing, farming, and they're doing more domestic work around the house, too. Yeah, robots are taking our jobs, and it's not a question of if, but when and how. Economists often treat the service industry as some last bastion of downsize-proof labor, but clearly robots will make sandwiches and take orders, too. A future where we can get gourmet burgers cheaply and on a quick sounds pretty nice, but that future will also have structural employment unless we start taking major strides to rethink and reform how we work in a world where robots are doing much of the heavy lifting. If we can, with robots flipping all the burgers and the right social policies, maybe at least a semi-techno utopia is on the way. By the way, folks. By the way, the people at McDonald's, the workers, yelling for higher minimum wage, have now lost their jobs. At least 7,000 of them have lost their jobs pretty much to a self-service kiosk. You put that machine I just told you about, connect it to a self-service kiosk, you don't need a damn worker in that restaurant except the manager and a mechanic. You understand where all this is going, folks? Do you have any clue whatsoever? I laugh because I've seen this before. Think about the automation of the 17 and 1800s. Think about how automated things were. Think about it, and it put the laborers out of work. Hello? Our own history has proven this. But as I said on a previous broadcast, I was reading a book. I can't remember exactly which one. It was either Harry Harrison and the Stainless Steel Rat books that he writes or wrote, or The Last Immortal by J.O. Jepson. I think it was Harry Harrison's book, the Stainless Steel Rat, where he's hungry and he walks up to this, looks like a modern day ATM, but in a, little bit bigger. And he punches in his order, he pays for it, and within 45 seconds, all his food is right there. And if this machine can pump out 360 burgers in an hour, parents, your kids won't have a job when they're in high school. And this also brings to mind that one song, Another Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd. Think about it, folks. Just think about it for a minute. Just put your thinking caps on for a minute. Put down your GMO food and your fluoridated water. Think about this for a minute. Don't sit there and say, oh, that'll never happen, when your own freaking history of the United States has shown that it does happen. And it will. Well, it just makes it more convenient. It just makes it more, the companies have to, and yeah, keep telling yourself that. Google has driverless cars. By the way, and I think Nick Tucker is still in the Spreaker chat, he can verify this and has talked about this on some of his broadcasts as well, where driverless cars created by Google, they are now able to drive around in Nevada and other parts of the country, but it started out here. Did you know that we have a test facility here? You didn't know that, did you? We have an automobile test center here in Nevada. We've got a lot of stuff in Nevada. A lot of stuff they're not telling you. A lot of stuff. I'll leave it at that. Folks, before you know it, your truck driving husband or your truck driving wife won't have a job because those goods are going to be shipped by driverless vehicles. Warehousing? Well, let's see. There's warehouses all over the U.S. and all over some other countries. I think Denmark has one, and I think Germany has one, where there's hardly any human intervention in taking anything off a shelf and putting it into a truck. It's all done by robots. I mean, look at your automobile manufacturing companies. Many, many years ago, somebody got the bright idea to automate it and build robots to put the cars together. Well, those unions were pissed off at the time, and people are going, "You're going to put me out of work." It's called progress. Well, I need retraining. Well, this is all you know how to do, isn't it? Well, yeah, but I can do other things. Well, we don't. Your services are no longer required. Think about it, folks. Just think about it for a minute. Your libraries of books are going to go away at some point, probably not tomorrow, next week or next year. But we have the Nook, we have the Kindle. I'm sure within the next 5 years, there won't be a Barnes & Noble anywhere. But I think they're going to be okay. Not quite sure. Some companies had to rethink their marketing plans. Some companies had to even change their whole way of doing things to stay afloat. You have Google, you have Apple, you have HP, you have all these companies that are probably owned by one of the 6 people that basically own the companies that run the United States of America. But think about it, folks. Think about it. You're being rushed out the door of your business that you have worked at for many, many years because they've created a robot to do your job. Where are you going to be? What are you going to do? The mom and pops businesses, the entrepreneurs like you and me, the thinkers, the intellectuals, the people that are in that realm, we're going to be the first ones in the crosshairs of the New World Order. Do you know why? Because we think and we're resourceful and we know how to get out of tough situations. Why do you think the kids from very young ages are being indoctrinated with Common Core bullcrap? Because slaves don't argue. And slaves don't think. And slaves don't own weapons. And slaves can be in a dormitory if they need to be. As far as I'm concerned, folks, I'm not a slave. I'm a free individual. I'm someone that can think. I'm very resourceful. And let's just say, I know every single tactic the New World Order is going to use. I am that resourceful. Now, go back a couple of weeks. Let me segue and close out this segment with this. Go back a couple of weeks. Copenhagen, Denmark, the Bilderberg Group. Things were ramping up. There was news here and there. You still had the Benghazi distraction going on. You still had people talking to Hillary Clinton, and Isn't it kind of interesting that this whole stuff in Iraq and this whole move to get that started has happened after that meeting? And did you hear Hillary Clinton saying she's not going to make any decisions about 2016 and it all depends on something? I don't know. I didn't read the whole article. I just saw a blurb about it. And I'm going to tell you something. As much as it would pain me to see this, I hope the United States of America and Washington, D.C. specifically, I hope Washington, D.C. specifically, that whole 10 square mile of that piece of trash area, that cesspool of criminality, I hope it collapses. I hope millions and millions and millions of people go to Washington, D.C. and assist in its collapse. I really do. Because as you know, folks, the states can take care of themselves. You and I can take care of ourselves. We do this on a daily basis. I'm sure we can do it, without somebody in Washington, D.C. telling us what to do, when to do it, why to do it, how to do it, and diverting our taxes to wars, which only profit the big major companies that are contracted with the military-industrial complex. Nick Tucker from Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook. Says, drone testing driverless cars in Nevada. Welcome to the age of extinction for man, just like the technocrats have said for decades. Exactly. Man is a useless piece of trash, according to... No, what was that? I can't remember the saying. Someone said that man is useless. Okay? Something to that effect. Barack Obama is nothing more than occupying a suit at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. That whole White House, the regime, all of that is just a facade, a charade. And the rest of it is just a geopolitical chess game. And folks, I don't have to tell you who the pawns are, do I? Think about it. Think about it, because we've got each other. We've got humanity to help survive. We've got us to help each other survive. But first, we have to get a gut check and a reality check and ask ourselves, are we ready for this? And they had to do it with the War of Independence, and I'm sure they had to do it in the Civil War. Oh, there was a lot of deserters and people running away and going home, but still. Are you ready for this? You got to be honest with yourself. Or are you going to go play the hermit someplace and hopefully nobody finds you? It all depends, folks. Wow, it's the top of the hour. Jeez, I talked that long? Holy crap. FreeAmericaRadio.us is the website. FreeAmericaRadio@USA.com is the email. And right after this show, you will hear, hopefully, Mr. Bob Brutus with kicking the capstone Oh, he's going to kick up dust, all right. But he's going to kick the capstone, so listen up. Come join me tomorrow on the Views Expressed Live. I'm not leaving yet. I'm just going to break, so I'll be here. I'll be back right after this.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Waking up the masses. Truth, knowledge, and wisdom for your consumption. Waking up the masses. News and views concerning the New World Order. Waking up the masses. Join Bob Brutus as he pulls back the curtain on the esoteric agenda which has been in play for a millennia. Waking up the masses. WakingUpTheMasses.com.
Thank you for joining us today on RadioKahuna.com. We so appreciate having you in. This is Steve from Clarinormal Talk Radio. I'm also here, one of the personalities on Radio Kahuna. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy having you people in. Thank you so very much. Hey, we're growing all over the planet by leaps and bounds. People from all over the planet are coming in and listening. But there's not enough. It's not enough. We need more. We're asking for your help. Tell a friend. Tell 2 friends. Tell 10 friends. Just tell them this. Tell them they'll get laid. Come on in. Enjoy the surf. The sets are fine. Steve from Clarinormal Talk Radio and Radio Kahuna. Thank you very much.
Dreams that you dream of.
Eastland Radio Repertory Theater is looking for you. Are you a voice actor? Do you want to hone your abilities? Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com. We are currently looking for voice actors to fill certain character roles in an ongoing radio play in development. Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com.
Lock it on to the best station on the net.
For all you independent artists, musicians, and filmmakers, there is a place for you. Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. Go to RadioRockTheBlitz.blogspot.com. Whatever the subject you can think of, we talk about it. Come join Diana and Wayne as we discuss whatever it is that is happening in our lives.
Come and listen to Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Check it out on Spreaker.com.
You're listening to The Views Expressed live on Waking Up the Masses Radio Network.
Hey, folks. This is The Views Expressed live right here on the Free America Radio Network and on WakingUpTheMasses.com. You can also go to freeamericaradio.us for more information. We're also broadcasting live on 1610 AM in the Chickamauga, Georgia area and all points on the internet. We are broadcasting live from behind enemy lines in FEMA Region 9 from the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada. Welcome. It is the 12th of June, 2014. How are ya? Are you alive? You're working? You're doing stuff? You're active? Really? Cool. Awesome. What more can a person ask for? Seriously. You woke up today, that's a good sign. You're not staring at the pearly gates. Even if you would, you couldn't tell us, you know? Comcast, you've heard of them. This is from noarmycanstopinidea.com. That's Angel Clark's site. Angel Clark, the Angel Clark Show on LRN.FM, Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern. It's radiofreedom.us is also the site. You can go listen to her show as well. Comcast converting 50,000 Houston home routers into public Wi-Fi hotspots without prior consent. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Just, why not? The president does stuff without our consent, so, you know, what the hell? Yes, this is written by Angel Clark, as a matter of fact, posted today at noarmycanstopinidea.com. Go check out Angel Clark's show. Go check out her website. Tell her Wayne Pierce from Free America Radio Network has sent you. Sometime on Tuesday afternoon, this is the original post, sometime on Tuesday afternoon, about 50,000 Comcast Internet customers in Houston will become part of a massive public Wi-Fi hotspot network, a number that will swell to 150,000 by the end of June. Comcast will begin activating a feature in its Eris Touchstone telephony wireless gateway modems that sets up a public Wi-Fi hotspot alongside a residential internet customer's private home network. Other Comcast customers will be able to log in to the hotspots for free using a computer, smartphone, and other mobile device. And once they log into one, they'll be automatically logged in to others when their devices, quote-unquote, see them. Comcast says the hotspot, which appears as Xfinity Wi-Fi, to those searching for a Wi-Fi connection, is completely separate from the home network. Someone accessing the net through the hotspot can't get to the computers, printers, mobile devices, streaming boxes, or more sitting on the host network. Comcast officials also say that people using the internet via the hotspot won't slow down internet access on the home network. Additional capacity is allotted to handle the bandwidth. What's interesting about this move is that by default the feature is being turned on without its subscribers' prior consent. It's an opt-out system. You have to take action to not participate. Comcast spokesman Michael Bybee, or BB or whatever, I don't know, said on Monday that notices about the hotspot feature were mailed to customers a few weeks ago and email notifications will go out after it's turned on. But it's a good bet that this will take many Comcast customers by surprise. If you have one of these routers and don't want to host a public Wi-Fi hotspot, here's how you turn it off. Number one, log into your Comcast account page at customer.comcast.com. Number two, click on Users and Preferences. Number three, look for heading on the page for service address. Below your address, click on the links that read Manage Xfinity Wi-Fi. And number four, click the button for Disable Infinity Wi-Fi Home Hotspot. And number five, click Save. You can see these screenshots of the process in the slideshow above. Note that this will only work once the hotspot is live on your router. You can also go to blog.seattlepi.com to check that out as well. And update, Comcast has turned on the first 50,000 residential hotspots. What's that? How does that concern you as an internet user? How does that concern you? Now, they said that there's going to be additional bandwidth that won't make your connection sluggish. That's basically breaking it down in layman's terms. So what does that say to you? We'll have to make note of that and do some more research. Interesting. I know we've had a lot of news in the last week or so with shootings and with all of that. But I want to direct your attention to the most criminal element in your city. Once touted to be the most credible. Once applauded for the work that they do, but now have become pretty much the criminal element and backed by the Department of Homeland Security. That would be your local police. Jack Gillum and Eileen Sullivan over at Associated Press. This is at news.yahoo.com. U.S. Get this, U.S. pushing local cops to stay mum on surveillance. U.S. pushing local police departments to keep quiet on cell phone surveillance technology. This was posted 3 hours ago. Actually, posted 3 hours ago. The Obama administration has been quietly advising local police not to disclose details about surveillance technology they are using to sweep up basic cell phone data from entire neighborhoods, the Associated Press has learned. Citing security reasons, the U.S. has intervened in routine state public records cases and criminal trials regarding use of technology. This has resulted in police departments withholding materials or heavily censoring documents in rare instances when they disclose any about the purchase and use of such powerful surveillance equipment. Federal involvement in local open records proceedings is unusual. It comes at a time when President Barack Obama has said he welcomes a debate on government surveillance and called for more transparency about spying in the wake of disclosures about classified federal surveillance programs. Well, you don't see anything, and if you do, shut up about it. And if somebody asks you, deny it. Heavy sigh. Okay, folks. Have you got a clue yet? Police state for 400, Alex. Have you got a clue yet? Have you woken up to the fact that we don't live in a free country? I mean, seriously, come on. Have you even decided that you wanted to wake up? I don't know what's happening in the Las Vegas area. I don't know what's happening in the Chickamauga, Georgia area. I don't know what's happening in Lima, Ohio, up there where Brian Lang, host of Live Truth Radio, is. I don't know. I'm not there. But I'm here in the biggest little city of Reno, Nevada, and I can tell you right now, there are some strange things going on here. You can feel it in the air, people. You can feel it in the air, and if you are not capable of doing that, oh boy, do you have some problems. I have seen some strange and unusual things. We have gone around this town. I've watched certain areas. Not going to tell you where they are, but I've watched people walking in certain areas. I've seen police officers driving around in certain areas. I've heard the scanner traffic at radioreference.com for this area. And let me tell you something very, very strange. Normal everyday stuff, domestic violence, 1016, you got some yelling going on, blah, blah, blah. You hear the EMS go out and hear the helicopters, life flight come in, that kind of stuff. Normal everyday stuff. But then every once in a while you hear, why did they say that? I've heard them on the scanner at radioreference.com in this area put out something, get on the radio and transmit something, and then about 2 seconds, maybe, I'm terrible with time, probably about 15, 20 seconds later say, never mind. They have drills here a lot. Last year at some point, to give you a rundown of what happens around here, out north we have Stead. It used to be an air base. Now it's just for the Reno air races. And there's residents out there and stuff. And we went out there, we were driving around out there, and we saw fairly new military equipment. Yeah, deuce and a halves, that kind of thing. You people in the military know what I'm saying. But we went out there like a year and a half ago or whatever. We were driving around. I just had a feeling. And it was, on a Saturday. It was afternoon. And I just had a sense. I follow my intuition. It's 100% correct all the time. Use it. You'll save yourself some grief. And I thought, let's go for a ride. I just got a feeling. Let's go for a ride. So we did. Went out to Stead. Drove around there. Came across this one section of the base. The Navy still uses it. The Air Force uses it. It's still in use in some areas. We saw military training. People outside exercising. People on the ground with their, with a weapon. We saw, again, back then, fairly new military equipment. They're training all the time, folks, and it's not training for any other reason except to go against you and I, the patriots, who are, as they see it, anti-government. I'm not anti-government, folks. I'm anti-corrupt government. That's why I want Washington, D.C. to finally collapse so we can build this country up in a way that our founding fathers wanted it to be. First thing we have to do is get rid of the corporations that shove all that big money into the candidate's pocket and buy those positions, including the presidency and the vice presidency. We need to get the corporations out of here, out of the election cycle. Nick Tucker from Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook said that he can feel it, and then he said, we're in a shift of the matrix. It won't be pretty. That's true, and that's interesting because, Nick, I was listening to the Pete Santilli show today, and about the close of the show, about the last segment of the third hour, him and Patrick Henningsen and Kenny Rhodes, we're all there. They're in Arizona. They're on the road. They're in Tempe, Arizona. And Pete Santilli just went, he was excited, and you could tell in his voice, and they were talking about neuro-linguistic programming. They were talking about nanotechnology. They were talking about all this and how all of that. And then I got getting goosebumps talking about this, and he says, we are in the matrix, people. And he said it in a way to symbolize that we are caught up in this in this connection that we have. Okay? This connection that is there. And unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, but unfortunately, not a lot of people can see it. Do you know why? Oh, I bet you can figure it out in a heartbeat. You know why? Because we've got blinders on, folks. We were forcefully put into a situation to where the blinders are on. Remember what I said. What came to me in the last hour, what came to me was the thought of Another Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd. Just walking on that treadmill. Going, that meat grinder basically is what it was. And you see that they have their face, they got blinders on and stuff. This is not I don't know. I'll just play this.
Did you know that the first Matrix was designed to be a perfect human world where none suffered, where everyone would be happy? And it was a disaster. No one would accept the program. Entire crops were lost. Some believed that we lacked the programming language to describe your perfect world, but I believe that as a species, human beings define their reality through misery and suffering. So the perfect world was a dream that your primitive cerebrum kept trying to wake up from, which is why the Matrix was redesigned to this, the peak of your civilization.
Yes. Exactly. I have to go back and watch those movies. I really do. But you see, predictive programming is all over the place. Hunger Games, Prometheus, you name it, it's all there. Let me take you back a couple of years ago. Maybe 3 years ago now. You never heard, or barely ever heard of, the mainstream media mentioning anything about the Bilderberg Group, mentioning anything about, anything so deep than you do now. Every so often you get a blurb here and a blurb there of whatever, you and I talk about, but they don't carry it on. They don't go, further with it. You know why? Because their handlers told them not to. Okay? Here's the thing, folks. Let me just bottom line it for you before the bottom of the hour here. Let me just give you this. They, quote unquote, they think that we are dumber than a box of rocks, that we can't figure this stuff out. And even if we could, they think that even if we could figure all this out, that they're going to put more and more and more information behind whatever it is they initially set up for us to get so confused, so rattled, that we're going to throw up our hands and just say, screw it. No, not going to happen. You've got stuff going on over in Iraq right now, but people are being distracted by a 90-year-old George H.W. Bush who did a tandem jump out of an airplane. I mean, you can see it right there. Go to the links on Free America Radio on Facebook. Iraq falls to Islamic militants. Here's what the media isn't telling you about why it's happening. Obama administration has decided to fund the Hamas-led Palestinian Authority. This betrays Israel, strengthens terrorists, and violates U.S. law. But do you think this Do you think that this person, this illegitimate administrator in the White House, really gives a crap about you when 8 of his inner cabinet members are Muslim Brotherhood? This country is not what it was. And I remember several years ago, I've had this show for, I don't know, going on 3 and a half years now. But I've known long before this is not the country our founding fathers wanted in 1776. Yeah, some of them were, Freemasons, Illuminati, blah, blah, blah. But the people spoke up loud enough to change the direction of this country, which has existed for 238 years. And they've kept the wolves at bay. And as far as I know, and I have seen, the wolves are getting a little hungry and a little desperate. When you look at what's happening around you, when you examine the very trends that are there, don't just accept them, question them. When you look at posts or on Facebook or elsewhere talking about UFOs, talking about all sorts of that kind of stuff, that's a minor blip on your existence and something that you should pay attention to. A minor, very minor. It's minor. Is it a distraction? Is it legitimate? Is it right? It's not the program to talk about it, but what you need to look at is the very nature of these people, the very hearts of these people, and the very purpose that they have in their own preconceived, deluded little worlds that they think they can wipe out 80 to 90% of the people on the planet. This is what you have to pay attention to, because these are not just, as some would call them, demonic individuals. No. These are complete and utter psychopaths. When you dig down deep inside who they are, connect the dots, look at the family, follow the money, you name it, you're going to find that they come from a history of psychopaths. They come from a family lineage going back thousands of years that don't give a crap about you and I, and we're going to fight for our freedoms. We're going to fight and defend what we have, and they really don't care. They're going to come in with bigger guns and just wipe out entire neighborhoods. They don't care. Let me reiterate that. They don't care. They put people on welfare, they put people on SNAP and EBT and all of that for what? Slavery, more control. They stage shootings and bombings to do what? Control. Oh, we got that going on. We have to, talk about and discuss in committee in the White House about what we're going to do about, the weapons that are out on the streets. Isn't that kind of ironic and hypocritical at the same time, because they got MRAPs on the street and militarized law enforcement? See, told you they think we're stupid. Get prepared, folks. All I can say is get ready to rock and roll, because I'll tell you what, you're in store for a bumpy ride. I shall return right after this. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce from the Free America Radio Network. Prepare yourself for the unexpected. Have an emergency food supply available when you need it. You never know when the next power outage or natural disaster will happen. Are you prepared when it does? Go to Free America Radio Network website and click on the Store tab and get your emergency food supply now. Go to freeamericaradio.us. A natural disaster could happen at any time. Be prepared. Go to freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab to get your emergency food supply today. That's freeamericaradio.us and click on the Store tab and prepare in case something happens. Listen to the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. Sharing the truth, one fact at a time. Listen to the views expressed live on the Free America Radio Network. Broadcasting live on WakingUpTheMasses.com and 1610 AM in the Chickamauga, Georgia area. Tune into the Views Expressed live Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Free America Radio Network. For more information, go to freeamericaradio.us. You're listening to the Views Expressed right here on the Free America Radio Network. Hey folks, this is the Free America Radio Network. Please email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com. That's freeamericaradio@usa.com. How are ya? By the way, you heard the promo there. Let me give you a little update. Go to freeamericaradio.us, go to the top of the page, you'll see emergency food supply. Get all that you can, folks. You'll be helping out yourself and helping out Free America Radio Network get to the next level. Thank you very much for your support. If you can't do that, you can also sponsor the show. Yes, just go to the sponsors page. There you go. If you don't want to do either one of those, you can donate. Yeah, go to the bottom of the page. You see a donate button there. Just click it. There you go. All it does is help keep the website up and the show going. That's all it does. Okay? Where's that money going? It's not going into my pocket, I'll tell you. It's going to keep the show up. It's going to keep the website working. Okay? That's what it's doing. Hey, speaking of sponsorships, if you have a graphic or something and you want to sponsor the page, you can do that too. Email me and I'll tell you how to do that. freeamericaradio@usa.com. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook. Let's scroll on down here. Oh, by the way, thedailysheeple.com. Find the FEMA camp nearest you. Yeah, Free Talk Live talked about that. And, Free Talk Live over at freetalklive.com or lrn.fm. Go check them out. I kind of like them. I haven't listened to them in a while because I got my own show, of course. But, From Bloomberg.com. Iraq battles Islamists in Saddam's hometown, 80 miles from Baghdad. Iraqi forces sought to check the rapid advance of Islamist militants who had seized major cities as Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki responded to the greatest threat to his government since taking power. The military attacked fighters of the Islamic State in Iraq and in the Levant in Saddam Hussein's former hometown of Tikrit, about 80 miles north of Baghdad, state-sponsored Iraqi television reported. In Mosul, the Air Force struck ISIL positions after they seized the largest city in Iraq's Earlier this week, Iraqi said, Al Samaria television reported heavy clashes as the army fought for Tikrit, backed up by air support. I wonder where they got all that weaponry. Possibly the U.S. The surge in violence across northern and central Iraq 3 years after U.S. troops withdrew has raised the prospect of a return to sectarian civil war in OPEC's second biggest oil producer. Follow the money. Al-Maliki's Shiite-led government is struggling to retain control of Sunni-majority regions, and his army units in northern Iraq collapsed in the face of the Islamist advance. Yeah, just go check it out, folks. I mean, the article spells it out, man. And here's another one. Holy crap. Let's check this one out. Just popped up. I'll put this one up on Free America Radio Facebook page as well. Let me do that so you guys can follow along. I do want to briefly state that hopefully, cross my fingers, hopefully I'll have a guest on next week, and we'll talk more about what's happening, with this Islamic jihadists all over the world trying to eliminate life as we know it, setting up a caliphate. Don't know what that word is? Go look it up. Caliphate. So anyway, there's the post, and here's the article. Bloomberg.com. Drug gangs attacking with tanks block Mexican shale boom. Oil shale drillers in Texas have had to contend with environmental opposition and soaring costs. A few miles south of the border in Mexico, Angel Torres and co-workers duck gunfire sprayed from drug traffickers. When gunmen pulled up in April in makeshift tank and riddled the hotel Asia with bullets, Torres dropped to the floor. After the attack, the 21-year-old machine operator for Weatherford International Limited and his crew of about 30 left town under police escort. Ciudad Mir, C-I-U-D-A-D. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not Spanish. My high school Spanish sucks. In the gas-rich region along the Texas border known as Burgos Basin, had already become a ghost town after most of its inhabitants had fled following years of bloodshed. Quote, "My girlfriend says she doesn't want me here," Torres said as he rested on a bench outside his new hotel a few miles away, dressed in a red boiler suit and work boots. Quote, "I tell her I have to work. There's no other option," unquote. Torres' predicament reveals the challenge facing Mexico as it attempts to replicate the kind of shale bonanza taking place in Texas, as thousands of troops battle a recent surge of violence by drug traffickers and fuel thieves. Lawmakers 450 miles away in Mexico City are preparing rules to allow foreign companies to drill for the first time since 1938. Drilling in Mexico would seem a natural next move for the thousands of wildcatters who have brought a boom to Texas, yet until the violence abates, that's not likely to happen. And it just goes down over the whole thing here. There's an army presence down there. There's Pemex shale, legislative overhaul, war zone. It is a war zone down there. Mexico shale. Folks, I'm a proponent and do support closing the damn border. Now, not because I'm racist, I'm not, so stop with that insanity. I'm not racist. I'm a realist. What part of the $18 trillion in debt do you not understand? What part of the United States of America is broke doesn't anybody understand? Oh, and by the way, that's not all. So closing the border and restoring the economic and financial stability of the United States is the way to go. You know what else? Abolish the minimum wage, institute a fair market living wage per region, flat tax across the board. There's nothing fair about taxes, but since everybody thinks that, they're constitutional, If that is what you want, then it should be a flat tax across the board. Period. Okay? You know, the states would operate just fine if there were no taxes. You know why? Resourcefulness. We were doing just fine from 1835 or somewhere around in that time up until 1913. We were just great, man. We had roads, we had this, we had buildings. It was fine. It was great, wonderful, fantastic. But then somebody screwed up and decided to say that we owed taxes. We don't owe crap, by the way. It's all unconstitutional. Levy taxes, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, yeah, I know that. I can talk a whole show about how I see how illegal and unconstitutional it is to tax people for the work that they do. Okay? But I won't. I've only got 20 minutes left, so. Point is, folks, this whole thing in Mexico is blowing up because we are, as they are, we are pretty much economically ruining northern Mexico up by the Texas-Arizona border. New Mexico border. We're totally screwing all that up. Why? Because somebody got a bright idea that shale was good, that fracking was good, that poisoning the groundwater was good. Oh, yeah, let's just do that. We get, we'll just, what? People die? So what? We made a couple of $1 billion this year. Who cares? That's the casualty. That's the price you have to pay for progress. Kiss my ass, Mr. Elite. We're destroying another country. You know that, folks. Did you know that Central America, not Mexico, even though some of them are coming too, Central America has all these refugees that are coming to the U.S., just climbing over the border, coming over the border, opening up, all this. And it's really going to get nasty. Because, well, ultimately, terrorists are going to get through. And they don't understand that. This is why I want, and I'm sure I'm not the only one in this parade, wants the border closed. Period. I've said it before on previous broadcasts. Get 100,000 troops across the southern border and just tell Mexico, you ain't getting over. You put a toe over that line, we're going to cut it off. We don't care. We have to restore America, rebuild America. Well, when I rebuild the U.S., I don't want to say America because Canada and U.S. and Mexico are all North America. So I don't want to say America. We have to rebuild the U.S. and restore the U.S. to the greatness it once was. But how are we going to do that if we just allow anybody and their grandma to come waltzing on over the border, just, we'll give you stuff free. Excuse me, what about the people that were born and raised here, jackass? Mr. Politician in Washington, D.C.? Looks like Rand Paul is going to sign on to the amnesty bill, too. I'm not sure, don't know. So what's the point of all this huge rant here? Well, I'm going to tell you. This is your country. That's your home. That's the street you live on. That is the county you live in. And you're going to let the federal government just run roughshod over your rights and not do a damn thing about it? Are you out of your flippin' mind? What the hell's wrong with you? You got criminals running all over your neighborhood. You're going to step outside and, oh my God, it's a gang. I better go in and close my door. No. I don't care if that gang's spray painting a building across the street. You make a phone call to 911 and you tell them, well, you better get out here within the next 2 minutes because you're going to have to get some body bags. And if it comes down to that, folks, it will. I hope it doesn't. I'm like most people. I hope it doesn't. But if it does, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? It's your street, it's your home, it's your county, it's your state. What the hell are you doing? Letting foreign enemies into your backyard. Huh. I don't know who needs more professional help. The president or you? I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just laying it out there on the table of debate. You can pick up whatever you want and run with it. I don't care. We'll talk about it. But I think anybody who is going to allow this crap needs some serious help. That's just me, though. That's my perspective. What's yours? You know? I have a question for you, though. It's a real simple question. It only requires you to think. The question is this. But let me set the question up with this premise. You're sitting at home, you got your family there, young kids, you're at the dining room table, one of them is doing their homework, you got one of them watching TV. Knock comes at the door, your wife, your husband goes to the door to open it up, and then boom, they throw the door open and they come in and they take you away and they put you in a truck and off you go. By the way, that was a commercial on MTV last year, a year before last. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to prepare yourself now to preemptively make sure that doesn't happen? You're going to talk to your neighbors. You're going to talk to people you trust. You're going to talk to your coworkers. You're going to get down and dirty and go out every weekend and train yourself with a weapon of your choice. You're going to go to the range. You're going to go, what are you going to do? That's my question to you. You're going to let these black-suited, jack-booted stormtroopers just come into your house and take whatever they want and shoot your dog and probably, break your arm on the way out of the house, putting you in a truck? I'm certainly not going to put up with it. Reconnaissance usually helps in situations like that. You military folk know what I'm talking about. And for those that don't, it's always good to know where your enemy is at, isn't it? Facts are facts, folks. We don't live in the United States of America anymore. We don't live in a free country anymore. We don't live in a country that George Washington was a president of, that James Polk was a president of, that Thomas Jefferson was a president of. We don't live in that country anymore. If anything, we can relate to the people in Nazi Germany. By the way, I had an aunt who was a little girl in Germany. She was just out of her teens when she married my uncle. And I got to tell you something. If I can have her on my show now, if she's still alive, I haven't seen her in almost 30 years, but she can tell you stories. There's a lady in our complex right here that was a teenage girl in Poland when Hitler came there. She looked me right dead in the eyes and she said, America is the same way. It's going communism. It's going communist. That's what she said. Wake up, folks. The alarm is sounding. The people are out in the streets, And you're sitting in your home on your ass watching your damn reality shows, which are scripted and false and fake and unreal and just... And you prefer that over saving your own life? I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. It's on the table of debate. Pick up what you want and let's talk about it. I find it incredibly odd. Just odd. Just a odd little thing. That people would ever ignore the obvious. Okay. Now, let me ask you another question. I'll probably end the program with my take on this situation as well. But let me ask you a question. Who is Moms Demand Action? CNN, there's a link there. You can go to Free America Radio, scroll on down, you'll see a article that says, it's a picture actually, that says Moms Demand Action for Xanax in America. There's a source, CNN.com source, put up yesterday. And the meme, there's a woman there who looks like she's kind of high. She said, or the picture says, there have been 72 school shootings in the past 18 months. Well, actually, there were 15, but that doesn't sound as bad as 72, which I just pulled out of my ass. So somebody was putting up a meme to make fun of CNN, to discredit them, because actually it was 74. IDtheft.about.com, RFID dust. Go to your favorite search engine and look that one up. RFID dust, tracking literally everything. Go look up this patent number. US 8414926. One more time, folks. US 8414926. Nanoparticles to covalently bound surfactant, or whatever the hell you want to say. Is it surfactant? Surfactant, there it is, for drug delivery. In other words, yeah. Let's go take a look at that, shall we? The last part of this show. The present invention concerns nanoparticles, compositions comprising of nanoparticles, methods of their production, and methods of using nanoparticles for delivery of biological active agents, antibiotics, or other drugs to human or non-human subjects. In one embodiment, the nanoparticle is a surfactant-free nanoparticle in which surfactant moiety, is that right, is covalently attached to the backbone of the polymer. Yes, all you scientific geek people out there know what I just said, and that's the abstract of U.S. Patent 8414926. Go check that out, folks. Hey, check this out. How much time do we have, first of all? Oh, we got like 7 minutes. Good. Gives me enough time to talk about this one. As soon as it comes up. Defund.com. 88 busted luxury cars seized in one of the largest food stamp frauds ever. That was put up yesterday. The FBI has announced they have charged 88 people in a massive Savannah, Georgia. Hello, Chickamauga. In a massive Savannah, Georgia fraud ring in, quote, one of the largest federal food program frauds ever prosecuted, unquote. According to the FBI, 54 of the people charged conspired to open, quote, purported grocery stores, unquote, with the main purpose of, quote, defrauding the women, infant, and children and food stamp program, unquote. The Weekly Standard reports that, quote, after the fake stores were approved as WIC and food stamp vendors, many of the 54 defendants went through neighborhoods soliciting WIC and food stamp recipients to exchange government benefits for cash instead of food in clear violation of the law, unquote. There's U.S. Attorney Edward Tarver announces the charges. There's a video there. It's 2 minutes and 57 seconds. You might want to check it out. Here's the bottom line, folks. People are always going to try to get away with something because they think they can. Kind of sounds like our federal government against us, doesn't it? People with criminal minds, well, let's just say, people with criminal minds are not so smart. Yeah. Why would anybody want to commit a crime? Do you wake up in the morning and say, hey, I'm going to go steal a car? No. Something's wrong with you. It's kind of a weird irony, I think, that if you are not much of an achiever in high school or any of those places, college, university, whatever, and you enter the political ring, it's kind of ironic that you would ever get a political position. You didn't amount to anything, so you become a politician. Excuse me? I'm just being sarcastic. Coming down to the end of the show for this Thursday, the 12th of June, 2014. The Wayne S. Pierce Show is not going to be on tomorrow. I'm taking the day off, basically. But I will be back tomorrow afternoon for or tomorrow evening, depending on where you listen to this at, for the views expressed live, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. So, just wanted to let you know. So give me your take on what's happening. I want to hear from you, please. Free America Radio at USA.com. Free America Radio at USA.com. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook as well. I want to hear from you. I want to get your take on what's going on. Anything that I talked about today, if you disagree or agree or, want to add something to it, please do. Free America Radio at USA.com. Free America Radio on Facebook. What else, folks? I mean, how can we not see what is happening? I said that before. Well, people have to wake up, and if they're not able to wake up, well, then okay. Lemmings. Just saying. Just saying. It was the swine that were possessed by demons after Jesus cast out the demon of the man in the graveyard, and those pigs went right over the cliff. I'm just saying, just putting it out there. It's hoping to wake you up. Hoping to get you to understand what's happening, because that's why I do this show every day, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. I want you to know. I want you to understand what's happening. Nothing wrong with that, is it? Well, unless you have your eyes closed and you don't want to open them up and you keep saying, talk to the hand and stick your fingers in your ears and go, la, 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 I don't want to hear it. Ah. No, because you can't handle the truth. That's just the way it is. Can't handle facts. But that's okay because, somebody's going to come along and take you away to a nice place. It's going to be really nice. It's going to be safe. You're not going to have any problems. Enjoy the FEMA camp, folks. Hey, folks, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go away now. Yay. I will be here tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. So, yes, I will have a show. So, anyway. Email me, freeamericaradio at USA.com, freeamericaradio at USA.com. Go to the website, sponsor the show, donate to Free America Radio Network if you wish, freeamericaradio.us. In the meantime, folks, I don't know what else to tell you. I'm gonna go look for some more stuff to tell you about tomorrow. How's that? That works for me. What about you? Remember, folks, we the people have the power, for we are America.